Hi, welcome to Watch It Played's Table Talk. My name is Rodney Smith, and this week I wanted to discuss with you the question, is playing poorly on purpose a problem? And is that too much alliteration? Never. Well, what do we mean by purposefully playing poorly? The easiest example I can think of is when you're playing against a small child and you want to save them the discouragement they might feel from losing the game, so you let them win. You've seen me play these games with my kids, and you know that I have no trouble losing to them, and they have no trouble winning. So I don't have to let them win. But when they were little, when they were smaller, I must admit, on occasion, especially if I had beaten them a couple of times in a row, I might throw a game because I wanted them to believe that winning was a possibility for them. I didn't want them to feel like it was impossible. That said, I think you do have to be careful about letting your children win too often because you want them to learn that losing is just a part of gaming and it's not something to get frustrated or upset with. But that's a different topic for another time. We want to focus here on purposefully playing poorly with your peers. Sorry about that. Okay, there are two primary reasons why I've done this in the past. The first is because I want the other person that I'm playing with to enjoy themselves and want to play the game with me again. And I'm not crazy for thinking that this works. Dan Yarrington of Game Salute and Myriad Game Stores mentioned in a podcast once that when they were trying to figure out what is it in game design that really makes a player noticeably enjoy it more. Is it the theme? Is it the style? Is it the components? Is it the way the rulebook's written? The art? What is it? The one thing they found that made a noticeable difference was whether or not the player won when they played. The other reason I've done it is because, well, this is more for social reasons, but sometimes I'm at the table and I'm playing with what I like to call sometimes the grumpy gamer. This is somebody that I might have a series of cards in my hand. I know if I play this one card against them, I'm going to put them in a very weak position, perhaps for the rest of the game, making it very hard for them to win. Depending on their personality type, if I sense that the kind of person who's going to start complaining out loud and say, oh, this game is so unbalanced and broken and that card was so overpowered, and I don't play poorly and hold that card back for their sake. I really do it for the rest of the people at the table who I believe are otherwise enjoying themselves, but if they have to listen to that for the next hour, they aren't going to enjoy themselves. Now, I'm not really sure that either of those reasons are really good ones, but this is table talk, and I'm just being honest with you about a couple of times where I have done this. But that's what my question asks, after all. Is playing poorly a problem? Well, let's look at it this way. What is cheating? Very quickly, I would say that cheating is breaking the rules of a game to give yourself an advantage that the other players at the table don't have, and this is an advantage you shouldn't have. So when you're playing poorly, you're kind of doing the flip side of that. You're giving yourself a disadvantage that you shouldn't have. You might even be able to make the case that similar to cheating, you are breaking the rules because every rule book I can think of states an objective, what you're supposed to be striving for, what you're trying to do when you're playing the game. And when you're playing poorly, you're no longer doing that. So in a way, you're breaking the rules, just like cheating. Now, you might think I'm taking it a little bit too far to say that it's cheating, and maybe so, but we can probably at least agree that it goes against the intentions of the game's design to play poorly. And I think another telling thing is when I've done this in the past, I don't want anyone to know that I'm doing it. I would be embarrassed if they found out that I was playing poorly. I would be concerned that then if somebody else won at the table, they would kind of feel like I robbed them of the satisfaction of that win, because would they have really won if Rodney had played the best that he could have? And you know, sort of like cheating as well, it does break down trust, doesn't it? Because the next time I now sit down and play with that person and they beat me, if they knew that I had let them win in the past, in the back of their mind, they're going to be wondering, is Rodney just letting me win again? So it's interesting. I think there are some parallels to cheating here, and it may not be exactly the same, but I think it's in the same family, maybe it's a distant cousin of cheating, at least in terms of the kind of impact it can have to the gameplay experience. And so anyway, this topic has just kind of got me thinking about the impact of playing poorly and whether or not it's something I should reconsider, even if I perceive there are some possible benefits to it on occasion. But now I'd like to turn it over to you. I'd really like to hear your comments on it. In particular, have you done this before, and what was your motivation for playing poorly? What do you feel like the result was? Was it positive? Was it negative? has this been done to you? Has someone played poorly and you found out that they were doing it? And how did that make you feel? And of course, I'd be very interested to know, what do you think about this correlation I'm drawing between cheating and playing poorly? Do you feel like they're relatively close? Are they quite far apart? Am I out to lunch? I'd be happy to hear your comments. Leave them, and also leave your video responses as well. And then the next episode, our talkback episode, I'm going to take a sampling of those responses. And I'd like to dive in a little deeper and talk about this a little more with you. Also, I want to remind you, we've launched our fundraiser for Watch It Played, and this is a way for you to help support the series so we can continue to create content like this and our gaming content as well. Drop by the link, I'll put it in the description of this video. You can donate, pick up a perk, or not, that's fine too. But whatever you do, until the next episode, thanks for watching.